Welcome back, everybody. There I am. Get this chair out of there. How is everyone? I hope you're doing well. Would you like to hear a story? It's Sunday story time, which means it's time to read Amara's Rose by Brianna Gu. Last week, let me try my best to catch you up if you missed it. So chapter 1, we are introduced to our protagonist, Rose. She is initially on Earth, but immediately jumps through a portal that takes her back to her home planet, Amara. It's a rush because she is without her magical key that I assume, based on everything we've read so far, lets her control these portals. Now, these portals, they are at least interstellar. At one point, she also says intergalactic, and I don't know if the author really meant that or if they think that interplanetary, interstellar, and intergalactic are more or less interchangeable, but for now, we'll have to take it at face value that she is able to travel through portals to other planets that are as far as in other galaxies, which is huge. She makes it back home and immediately runs into one of her two friends that form a trio known as the Three Musketeers. The Three Musketeers are Rose, Phoenix, and Sylvia, or possibly just Sylvie. I don't remember. But Phoenix is poor. That's what we know about Phoenix. She catches squirrels for a living. And Rose lives alone. She's 13 years old. She lives alone because both of her parents died, but really kind of more vanished mysteriously during a war 8 years ago. And Rose is also the only one with a key. This magic key that lets you travel to different planets. It seems to be a known quantity that she can travel to different planets, and everyone else in her society on her planet is largely uninterested in doing so. Phoenix goes to town, sells her squirrels, and meets a cute boy, the butcher's son. I don't remember his name, Colin. And Rose goes into town and orders a cake from the local baker because it is Sylvia's birthday, and they are going to have a party at Rose's house. Then we jump to Sylvia's perspective. Sylvia, yeah. And she is a princess because the town they live in, this sleepy hamlet, is also the capital city of, I assume, the largest nation on Amara. Sylvia is the princess, and she is so fed up with being stuck in royal meetings with boring bureaucrats. So she wants to go hang out with her friends. She storms out of the meeting right in front of her mother, the queen, who tries to chase her down. But she says, "Screw you, Mom. I'm taking off this dress with more petticoats than I can count. I'm putting on my cool jeans like they do on Earth. And I'm jumping out the window to go hang out with my friends." So, flash forward a little bit, skipping some minor details. We find the trio at Rose's house having a birthday party. And all's well and good until a messenger pigeon shows up at the window. And when they read the little message on its leg, it says, "Something's going down. Rose, you need to get out here right now. All militia members, please report." And Rose, who I'll remind you again is 13 years old, rushes off to join up with the militia. She is very worried that the reason the militia is being called is because there is some sort of provocative engagement happening with Lexi's army. We haven't met Lexi yet, but from what we've learned, Lexi is the leader of some sort of opposing army and may or may not be responsible for the death/disappearance of both of Rose's parents, which means Rose has a particularly invested vengeance agenda against Lexi. Rose gets to the militia area. She squads up with her cohorts in Gold Squad, and then they are assigned to do a secret sneaky mission, but she is forced to be left behind to guard the base with Bronze Squad because her agenda of vengeance against Lexi makes it so that when she gets anywhere near Lexi, she doesn't obey orders. So she's sitting with Bronze Squad waiting for something to happen, and she meets our fourth character, Hannaway. Hannaway is also a young girl, presumably as young or younger than Rose herself, so they put her about 13 years old. And she comes up and says, hey, like, I see you're making arrows. Can you teach me how to make arrows? And she teaches her how to make arrows. And that kind of pans time forward a bit before Bronze Squad gets reports that a group of the opposing army, who, by the way, are giants. The enemy army is all giants, who are like dumb and I guess ugly. They've stepped out onto the field with surrender flags, and so the leader of the army tells Rose and Hannaway to also take a surrender flag out into the field and parlay with them. They go out there to meet the giants. The giants' army, Lexi's army, has sent small giants, only 6 feet tall. And right before they're about to parlay, Rose gets a message from Gold Squad in the woods up ahead who've been scouting via laser pointer, which Rose apparently retrieved from Earth and handed off to them. And it says, it's a trap. These guys don't actually want to surrender, and they're going to fuck with you. So be aware of that. And so Rose makes the decision to walk up to the leader of the supposedly surrendering party, shakes his hand, and while holding his hand, wheels and punches him in the nose and breaks his nose. And then Hannaway jumps up, tackles one of the other quote-unquote small giants, and stabs him in the eye with their surrender flag. And then they both make a run for it. They get a certain distance, but the giants gain on them. And then there's a fight. They win the fight, long story short, and the rest of Bronze Squad finally show up to assist. And, gosh, what even happens after that? They're like, good job, springing your trap before the other army springs their trap. And then Rose says, well, that was exciting. And Hannaway is like, yeah, that was the most exciting thing I've ever done. And they both are very tired at that point. They leave the mop up to Bronze Squad boys. And they go to sleep. And that's where we're at on this at this point. The next chapter is chapter 6, which is from Hannaway's perspective. Feeling all caught up? If you'd like to hear the entire thing in detail, you can, of course, get your hands on Amara's Rose somewhere online, I assume. Or go check the VOD from last Sunday, which will be available for presumably another week or so at least here on Twitch, or more or less in perpetuity on YouTube. Part 2, Amara's Rose, Chapter 6, Hannaway. This has to be the most exciting thing I've done in my entire life. I have no idea how Sanders can sleep right now. I can't believe that just happened. From here, I can see where we fought down in the valley. Wow, it doesn't even look like anything happened there, even though it was just like 30 minutes ago. Oh my gosh, I can't even believe it. I can't wait to tell my parents. Footsteps catch my attention, and I see the general walking toward us. Oh no, we never reported in to him. I hustle to my feet, an apology on my lips. Sir, It's fine, Hannaway, He looks down at Rose. Sanders here, who appears unconscious, should have known to report in to me. One of the Bronze boys already told me what they saw and what happened after they got there, and why we have prisoners. He frowns. I attempt an apology again. Sir, please, just let me... Hanaway, if you apologize to me, I will take away your rank. I bite my tongue. Now get some rest. Tomorrow, when the horns sound, we will be off into battle. Yes, sir, right away. I think actually Hanaway had a yes, sir, right away. She had kind of a nasally voice I gave her. I gather my gear from camp and return to the tree where Sanders remains asleep. I'm way too excited to sleep right now. We're going into battle tomorrow, which is going to be the new, most exciting thing I've ever done. The only issue is that I might get hurt, or die, or something like that. That's only a minor detail, though, because I get to go into battle with none other than the legendary Rose Sanders, the first girl to ever make it onto the Gold Squad. I get to work with my idol, who is now my friend, and tells me her secrets, and oh my goodness, I cannot even... How in the world am I going to sleep? Line of asterisks. Battle horns blare, and I immediately open my eyes. The night sky is fading, and there's a glimmer of pink on the horizon. How could I have fallen asleep and slept until nearly dawn? I try to jump up, but fall over because of my still asleep legs. I succeed on the second try and grab my bow. I'm ready. Rose is calmly stretching and murmuring something about how there should be a law that battles can't take place this early in the day. How can she not be excited to go into battle? Best day ever! The general rushes over to Sanders, who's now on her feet, and speaks in hurried undertones with her, no doubt giving her an update before rushing off to do the same with other people. Gold Squad must also have new information, because they're spreading it around to Silver and Bronze Squad members. Someone passes by and throws a bundle of armor at Rose. She quickly puts it on with the ease of having done it hundreds of times. Bronze Squad, over here! Sanders yells in a demanding voice while strapping on her sword and slinging her bow and sheath of arrows over her shoulder. No one listens but me. When she lets out an ear-piercing whistle, everyone stops. Bronze Squad, I suggest you listen to your new leader and assemble right now. She bites out the last two words in a nasty tone. I guess she's not a morning person. My squad scrambles into place around me. In a firm voice, she orders, all hand-to-hand fighters, such as swordsmen, go report to Silver. All archers, stay with me. The squad members hustle to follow her orders. Soon, just the archers, about 20, surround Sanders and me. Some of you are heading to the North Cliffs to pick off the enemy from above. You will not need armor as you will not be in any significant danger, she directs. Hanaway will lead that group. My heart skips a beat. Me? Why'd she pick me? Hold on. I'm getting messages from upstairs. She woke up before her leg. Yeah, that seems very strange. It's I would feel very scared if I woke up in the morning and any part of my body was asleep in the way we understand body parts to be asleep. I'd be like, did I sleep on it wrong? Did I fall asleep on an artery or a nerve or something? Sanders continues. All long-range archers, follow her. She's in charge of you now. Short-range archers, stay with me. Most of the archers come over to me. While they check their weapons and talk excitedly among themselves, I watch Sanders out of the corner of my eye. A handful of archers gather around her and listen as she points to the other side of camp and says a few short words. They immediately leave in the direction she indicated. She heads off in the opposite direction, glancing over her shoulder surreptitiously before I can no longer make her out in the dim morning light. I look away. What is she doing? No one else appears to have noticed Rose's strange departure, or at least no one tries to stop her. She must be on a secret mission for the general or something. I mean, Sanders is the best warrior, so obviously she would have an important job like that. Hanaway, an archer interrupts my thoughts. What do you want us to do? I gulp nervously. I've never been in charge of this many people before. Or anyone, ever. According to my mother, I shouldn't even be in charge of a doll. Responsibility doesn't suit me, she says. Oh well, time to try. Follow me to the North Cliffs. Grab your sheaths and bows. My voice comes out with authority. It sounds like I know what I'm doing. Is this how people in charge always feel? Let's go! I force myself to lead the group at an even running pace, but my thoughts are racing faster than my feet. What's going to happen during the battle? Why was I put in charge? What am I supposed to be doing? I don't even have orders from the general. We quickly reach our destination. Darn it, now what? Set up in a long-range formation, I bellow instinctively. My father had taught me battle strategies when I got accepted into Bronze Squad, and apparently I remember them. A clear plan forms in my mind. The archers do as I order. The darkness absorbs those on the far edges. I need a quarter of you to climb part way down and find a ledge to shoot from. Every fourth person needs to go down. Lewis, you are first. I watch as they pass the order up the line, and then about 5 people climb down to find positions on various ledges. Hold your fire until the enemy is in range and I give the signal, I command everyone. They each carefully string an arrow in their bows, keeping the line loose while they wait. Below us, the dark shapes of the 2 armies gather on opposite sides of the valley floor. There's very little noise and the air is thick with tension. Even the birds are quiet. Every muscle in my body feels as though it's about to snap. Our army is a small one, but Lexi's is smaller. That's not saying much, though, because 1 giant is equal to 2 of our soldiers. We might have the upper hand with our archers on the cliffs, but it won't be much of one. This battle will probably be an even match. Now that I think about it, Lexi's army is very odd. Giants aren't the most intelligent creatures, and are incapable of leading each other. That's where Lexi comes in. Without her, they'd probably just sit around and do nothing. But ever since she began to lead them, I've heard, they've been more hostile toward us. I don't know who Lexi is or where she came from, although I think she's from Amara. Maybe she's someone from another village, but no one else seems to know either. The sky brightens as dawn approaches. The 2 armies are more visible now as they rapidly close in on each other. My stomach clenches. I can't see people clearly enough to distinguish where Sanders is or what she's doing. I hope she stays safe, and a part of me wishes I were with her. Just as the sun comes up over the horizon, the 2 armies meet. I hold my breath. Like a spark landing in oil, a mighty fire ignites. The sound of metal sharply clashing on metal rises up to us, along with shouts of anger and screams of pain. The giants roar fiercely. Everything in my head yells at me to run and get out of here, but my feet stay rooted to the ground. I can't help but watch the battle in morbid fascination. It's nothing like I thought it would be. This is so real, so much more gruesome. I swallow back the bile that creeps up my throat as I watch 2 of my fellow soldiers fall and not get up. I blink and gather my thoughts. I can't just sit here and stare at the battle. I need to do my job. My army needs me. My father told me that once the front lines meet and they're within range, you shoot, but always shoot towards the back of the opposing army so you don't hit your own people. He said to never shoot earlier either because chances are the enemy isn't actually in range, even though it might seem like it. In a loud voice, I echo his instructions to my archers and add an extra reminder. Remember, shoot towards the back. Do not risk shooting your own people. Good. I sound as if I'm in charge and know what I'm doing. Positions! I call out, and the bows bend into lethal weapons as the archers pull their arrows back. Fire! Arrows immediately fly down into the writhing mass of people below, taking out giants lingering in the back of the opposing army. The archers concentrate and silently repeat the same pattern. Grab an arrow, take aim, shoot. Too soon, the 2 armies are completely mixed. I reluctantly give the command to stop firing. I'm not sure how much help we gave our army. The screams of the wounded echo in the valley and rise up the hillsides, and the dark red splotches of blood on the ground increase in size and number. Again, I feel the urge to vomit. This is not exciting. Not at all. Briefly, the dust clears, and I spot Sanders fighting with a short sword. She's in the middle of it all, although a small ring of empty space surrounds her and the other person she's fighting. And that other person is not a giant, so it must be Lexi. Wait, the general would never send Sanders on a mission near Lexi. The two come together and break apart in a deadly dance. Each time their swords meet, despite the distance, I feel I can hear the biting noise. The grass in the valley is now thoroughly trampled, and the fighting kicking up so much dust that my view is sometimes obscured. No one in either army approaches Sanders and Lexi. No one dares to get involved in their private fight. From what I've heard of my idol, Sanders, she would probably kill any of our soldiers who interfered. She has claimed Lexi as her own. I'm surprised the general didn't prepare for this. He had to have known it would happen. I thought he would keep Rose as far as possible from the main fight. And the giants? Well, I can only assume they're leaving the two women combatants alone because Lexi ordered them to. I don't know why else they would. My eyes are riveted on the battle between Sanders and our arch-enemy. Both women are exceptionally good fighters, and I'm mesmerized by the way they move. They're dueling with short swords. I can tell Lexi is a better swordsman from the way she flawlessly performs maneuvers, while Sanders looks sloppy in comparison. She also looks tired, but unharmed. So far. Lexi's sword dances around Sanders like a snake, lunging towards her head. Sanders ducks, and the metal barely clears her. But Sanders is quicker than Lexi, and she can dart in and around the attacks that she isn't capable of blocking. Lexi lacks the grace to follow my idol's movements with her body, but her sword follows close behind. What Sanders lacks in sword skills, she makes up for in agility. The result is a very dangerous and even duel. Line of asterisks again. The battle's been going on for what seems like hours, but in reality, it can only be a few minutes. The sun has barely cleared the horizon. I don't know what to do and find myself frantically pacing. When she put me in charge, Sanders didn't relay the general's instructions to me. I don't know if we should climb down the hillside and try to help, or if we should stay and wait to see what happens, to see if the army's separated enough for us to get in some clean shots. I'm in way over my head. All the combatants in the valley fight fiercely, but more are falling as time goes on. I don't know if it's from injury or worse. I wrap my arms around myself and rock back and forth. I can't believe that living beings can do this to each other. Sanders and I fighting the three giants last evening was fun because even the guy I poked in the eye didn't get hurt all that badly. Our little battle was exciting and cool. This is not cool. Not one bit. I can't stop shaking. Hopelessness radiates off the archers around me. This battle is not going as well as we thought it would, and actually, most people, including the soldiers, had hoped the battle wouldn't happen at all. The sweat pours down my back, and I feel the eyes of my archers looking to me for instructions. Suddenly, a blinding light flashes in the center of the valley. The flare is brighter than the sun. I close my eyes and turn away. I can feel its heat on my skin. What is going on? I fall to my knees, my eyes tightly shut. My urge to vomit has never been greater. Bile rises in my throat, and it's all I can do to swallow it down. But the light disappears within seconds, so I shakily rise to my feet and look down into the valley. The battle is stopped. The two armies are slowly backing away from each other. Something big has just happened, and the weight of it is heavy in the air. Not a sound can be heard. Silence rings in my ears. What is going on? My archers and I gaze in horror at the battlefield. Where are Sanders and Lexi? I can't see them. They should be right there, in the center of everything. But they're not. The two armies suddenly turn and run toward their respective sides of the valley, looking fearfully over their shoulders and fleeing as quickly as possible. Now that the sun is fully up and the dust is settling, I see that the grass in the center area is scorched black, right where the blinding flash of light originated. There's a good-sized depression in the ground there, too, where Rose and Lexi had been battling. But there's no one there. Nor are Sanders or Lexi in the fleeing forces. They're just gone. Back to camp, I order, and everyone instantly obeys. We need answers. We need to hear what happened. Panting from running at full speed, I go straight to the crowd that's gathered in the camp and push my way to the front. Everyone quiets when the general raises his hand. What has happened to Sanders is classified, he announces. That is all. He turns on his heel and walks away, his face devoid of emotion. I follow him beyond the edge of the group until we're alone. General, wait, Why could she not listen to orders for once? He mutters to himself as he stalks away. If her father saw what I let happen, he would kill me. I freeze. So Sanders really hadn't listened to orders. She wasn't supposed to be down there in the battle, just as I'd suspected. I bet she was supposed to stay with the archers. Oh no, oh no. This is bad, bad news. My father, who'd been high up in the army once upon a time, had told me that classified means that the army either doesn't have an answer or they have something worth keeping a secret. In any case, the word classified is never good news. So whatever happened to Rose is bad. Her body hasn't been found, so I can only assume she's alive, and yet no one saw her leave. She simply vanished into thin air. Oh my God, is this chapter? Oh my gosh. Chapter 7, Phoenix. Standing in Rose's house after she ran out and Sylvia returned to the castle, I debate if the carrier pigeon's message signals a peaceful negotiation or a full-blown battle. Either way, I'd rather wait here for Rose to return and tell me than at home. My brother is in Silver Squad, and he would have already left to report for duty. Being alone in our house while he's gone would be too unsettling. I will not be called out to battle or to negotiate because I am not in the army. I would not be able to do what they asked of me. After pacing and worrying for who knows how long, I plop down on the couch. My mind roams everywhere, and my imagination conjures all sorts of horrors. Hours pass, night falls, and the sky grows pitch black. The crackling fire dies, and I barely move, waiting on pins and needles for Rose to return. But she doesn't, which makes me think it's not simply peaceful negotiations she was called to attend. I realize I'm pacing the floor again and have no idea when I stood up and started doing that. I make myself a cup of tea in the kitchen, and my thoughts return to that long-ago battle and its effect on Rose's life. Rose does not like to talk about all the bad things that happened, and nobody in the village ever does. Sometimes I suspect that everyone forgets, or chooses to forget for Rose's sake, that Rose had a sister, that her father died, and that her mother apparently abandoned them. It's sad, really. Line of asterisks. Eventually, I lie back on the couch, exhausted. I fall into a deep sleep. A loud knocking on the door wakes me up in the next morning, and I rush to answer it. A royal messenger is standing outside, holding his horse's reins in his hand. "Ah," he intones in the voice of someone who basks in his own importance. "You are here, Miss Phoenix. I've been sent by the princess to fetch you and bring you to the castle." He sticks out his uniformed chest with pride and resumes his slow, measured speech. "She's told me to let you ride back on my steed, Miss Phoenix, and that you must make great haste. It is," he clears his throat pompously, "an emergency." An emergency? I grab the reins out of his hand and swing up onto the saddle. I spare him a glance. "Thank you for delivering that message and letting me use your horse." It wouldn't do to forget my manners. I urge the magnificent, creamy white beast into a gallop. Thrilling in his powerful gait. Everyone in our village knows how to ride, seeing as how the only transportation is by horse or on foot. I guide the horse down the trail, whipping past trees and taking the path that skirts the town so I won't be slowed by anyone. Colors blur together as I focus on the path in front of me, and my mind races. Sylvia's never sent a horse for me before. She would only do this if it was truly an emergency. And I know in my gut this summons has something to do with Rose, and that whatever it is, it most certainly isn't good news. I click the horse to go faster and hope for the best. Chapter 8. That's right. We had a 2-page chapter and then a 3-page chapter. Chapter 8. Rose. I'm getting goosebumps on my arms. Opening my eyes, I see nothing. Pitch black. My heart races. Where am I? I have no idea how long I've been here, or even where here is. Finally, what feels like hours later, I'm pulled from the bone-chilling darkness. Warmth envelops me. I awaken to a serene blue sky overhead and hard ground beneath me. Blinking rapidly to help my eyes adjust to the sudden brightness, I sit up and take in my surroundings. black, charred structures, eaten by a flame long gone, stretch out of sight. The building's metal frames are warped and crumbling, and scorched debris litters the ground and even the sidewalk beneath me. There's not a person in sight. I shiver, despite how warm it is. I wrap my arms around myself. My bare arms. What the? There's no armor over my clothes. It's disappeared. So is my sword. At least I'm still wearing the clothes I had on yesterday when I dashed out of my cottage and reported for duty. Jeans and a t-shirt, and my boots. So, what in the world's happened? Where am I, and how did I get here? I was battling Lexi in the Valley of the Nomads, and then a bright light blinded me, followed by too long in that cold darkness, and then I ended up here. Oh, frick! This isn't my world. It's not Amara. There is pavement, although it's pockmarked, and the multi-level structures are much too big, and the air stinks. Amara isn't polluted like this. I'm on Earth, but how can that be? I got away from here yesterday and made it safely back to Amara in time to celebrate Sylvia's birthday. So what am I doing back here again? I leap to my feet. In the distance, normal, Earth-like, urban buildings appear completely intact. Why am I in this burned-out section of what's obviously a large city? So how did I get here? Only portals can transport people from one planet to another, so it must have been a portal of some sort that brought me here. It's the only way. But the portal to Earth drops off and picks up on the bridge, which is nowhere to be seen. Although 2 nights ago it was in that park. Which reminds me, as a precaution, I reach up and touch the key suspended on the chain around my neck. Thank goodness it's still there. I yank it off the chain. Oh, but it's twisted and burnt. How did this happen? But more importantly, does it still work? I clutch the key and picture my home, the valley, and the woods, and I put all my heart into every detail. No portal appears, even though it should have with that much effort from me. I try again, this time picturing my village and everything about Amara I can think of. Still no portal. Nothing. Nada. Zip. Zilch. Not an inkling of that beautiful blue and green portal I love. Panic steals my breath and my eyes tear up. I swallow hard, and my sorrow quickly turns into anger. Damn key! It's of no use to me now. I fling it as far as I can and am quite proud that I managed to throw it across what I assume used to be a street and almost to the next building. Then my foolish pride evaporates. I should have tried to fix it somehow, so now I need to go look for it. Otherwise I'll have to find another way home, or wait for someone to figure out where I am and come get me, or somehow get another key, or... There are too many ors! I need an answer, and even more than that, I need to go home. My Amarians need me in the battle against Lexi and the giants. Stepping over blackened timbers that have fallen onto the cracked sidewalk, I trudge over to where the key landed. A noise nearby catches my attention. What the? I dash to an archway which probably once held a door and hide on the other side of it. Peering out, I see a person walking through the rubble, staring at the ground as if she's looking for something, as if he's looking for something. The human is male and appears to be somewhere around my age. Taller, though, but that's about all I can tell. He glances my way and I try to squeeze myself behind the metal beam. Not a great tactic, but it's all I can think of. The boy studies me with a curious look on his face, probably wondering why a girl is attempting to hide behind a beam that's only half as wide as she is. What is he even doing here anyway? Who hangs out in the burned-down part of a city? And what is he looking for? He slowly takes a few steps toward me, and my brain quickly does the whole fight-or-flight thing. He has about a foot on me, and his legs are a lot longer, so I decide flight would just turn into fight anyway. If I really am on Earth, my Amarian speed has left me. I don't think I could outrun this idiot. He looks built to run, tall and lanky. I step out from behind my beam and lean against it, attempting a menacing look as I study him. The stranger is lean, although he definitely has muscle. His short brown hair is the same color as his eyes. When he's still on the opposite side of the street, he pauses to pick up something from the ground and pockets it before continuing toward me. I narrow my gaze and glare even harder at him. He stops when he's about 30 or 40 feet away and studies me with a puzzled expression. "Hi," he says, sounding slightly awkward. "Hello," I reply in a cool voice, trying to scare him. "Who are you, and what are you doing here?" he asks, his voice now just as icy as mine. "Who I am is not important, nor are my reasons for being here," I say. I need information first, before I can form a plausible story he'll believe. I seize on the obvious. "When did this fire happen?" I gesture around us. 5 years ago. No one's put the money into cleaning it up." He shoots me a suspicious look, which is followed by a small, triumphant smile. "What are you doing here, if you didn't know that?" "You wouldn't believe me if I told you." "Try me," he challenges, raising both eyebrows. "Fine," I say childishly, quickly thinking of a lie. "I'm here because I had relatives who died in this fire. I'm just mourning their deaths. No reason for you to be all up in my business." "You're lying," he says in a know-it-all tone. "No one died in this fire." He takes a step closer to me, and it's all I can do to hold my ground. "Now, I want to know why you're here." He pulls a small pocket knife from his pocket and flicks it open like it's a big deal. I scoff. Is that all he's got? Pathetic humans and their small knives. Nothing to worry about from him. "Now listen here," I say, grabbing my hunting knife out of my boot, smirking as terror quickly flashes through his eyes. "Why I'm here is not important to you or anyone else for that matter." I take several threatening steps towards him. He tenses. Aha! I've got him now. "All that's important is you telling me where I am and what the date is, and then quickly leaving before I decide to put this knife to use." A few more steps and I'm within arm's reach of him. The brief flash of terror I saw across his face is long gone. Now he just looks as if he can't believe I'm serious. "I am." "Fine," he replies airily, not budging an inch. "But I have this." He holds up my key. "You threw it, but I'm thinking you want it back." "Give it to me," I command. "I'll give it to you, but only if you tell me why you're here," he says, smirking and relaxing. He knows he has the upper hand. "Don't make me use this on you," I say, holding my knife in a ready position while trying to figure out how to retrieve the key. Even though I clearly have the bigger weapon, his eyes tell me he won't back down. You gotta hand it to him. He's got courage. "You wouldn't use that on me," he sniggers. My gut tells me he is right. I can't use my knife on this guy. He's too intriguing to stab right now, and I need information he can provide. Besides, I don't normally go around stabbing innocent people, not to mention the fact that he seems to know that the key is important to me, and therefore he might actually know something about it. From past mistakes, I've discovered it's best if I listen to my gut. Obeying my wise inner voice, I scowl and put my knife away and prepare to be civil. As soon as my knife is gone, he shuts his and returns it to his pocket. I let out a deep breath. "Fine, here's the deal. I got here somehow, and I don't remember how, so stop asking. I don't know how much time has passed, but I do know I need to get back home quickly. So, if you would kindly tell me the date and give me back my beloved bit of burnt metal, which I'm not telling you about, I'll be on my way." When I finish speaking, I grab for the key, but he holds it high and out of my reach. Tall people ruin everything. Now it's my turn to look at him questioningly. "Fine, I'll help you," he relents, as if he's doing me a big favor. "I never asked for your help." I cross my arms over my chest. "You know you need my help," he states, and when I protest, he just talks over me. "But you have to be honest with me. Where are you from?" He gives me a look that suggests he knows more than he's letting on, which really infuriates me. I'm used to having the upper hand and knowing more than others do. "I'm from a completely different world that's under attack right now. I need to get back before everyone dies," I say, hoping the statement shocks him enough that I can pull his arm down and get the key. He smirks again. "Funny how things work, huh? I just happen to be the gatekeeper here," he says, while pulling out a key from his jacket pocket and waggling it right in front of me. "My mom's journal was right. This changes everything. There's a gatekeeper on Earth. So does that mean he knows Victoria Cooley? No, he can't. Keys are supposed to be passed down to one of the girls in the family. Boys never have them, so he must have gotten it from somewhere else. But where? Most importantly, though, is that here is finally someone who can understand what I go through and can help me get home. But how likely is that? This human giraffe, good grief, they grow them tall here, hasn't been generous so far. Before I can stop myself, I demand, exactly who in the worlds would make you gatekeeper? Worlds? He questions. I wave him off with a flick of my wrist. Yes, like multiple, plural. Come on, keep up with me. Whatever. He shrugs as if my insult doesn't bother him. Yeah, whatever, but you have a key, so I can go home now. I take another swipe at his key, and he holds it even higher than mine. Now he has a key in each hand. He grins. Let me tell you a funny story. My heart sinks. Those words never end well. I know, since I use them all the time. He continues, My key stopped working a month ago. It's usually always warm to the touch, but since then it's been dead cold. So what does that have to do with me? Give me your key. What? I stick out my hand, palm up. Hand it over. Clearly you haven't used it. You're saying it felt different, I reason, so it might still work. Thus, you should give it to someone who actually knows how to use it. Apparently, I got through to him because he hesitantly drops it in my hand. I clench my fist around it, close my eyes, and imagine home, every single detail I can think of. This should definitely work. Nothing happens. Frick. I try again, picturing everything as if it were right in front of me. I open my eyes and I'm still in the burned-down building. What the heck? I shove the key in his chest. Take the damn thing back. Your stupid key doesn't work. He slides it into his pocket. I told you it stopped working a month ago. A month ago? A premonition snakes up my back. How long was I in that cold, dark place before I woke up here on Earth? Tell me the date isn't June 24th, 2017. Yes, it is. How'd you know? You said you didn't know the date, he frowns. His words knock the breath out of me. It's June 24th here. When I left Amara, it would have been May 24th on Earth. It's been a month. I've been teleported into the future. But what has happened on Amara during that month? My people could still be fighting, or the battle could be over. Did we win? Are Sylvia and Phoenix okay? Is my village still standing? A month is a long time, and anything could have happened. I need to get home. But first, I have to decide if this guy can help me or not. Okay, here's the deal, Mr. Earthling. I blacked out for a month, and your key stopped working a month ago, I state confidently. I doubt I was actually lying unconscious in the rubble for a month, so I assume the portals are messing with time. He frowns at me. The two are obviously connected, I agree. We need to find a way to fix our keys and get you home. Didn't I just point that out? What a moron. The idiot grabs my arm and starts pulling me with him down the sidewalk. Where are we going? I demand. No response. Wait! I dig my heels into the wreckage beneath my feet, refusing to move. What? He complains, turning to face me. We have to get moving. We can't stay in any one place for too long. He gives me a look that tells me not to question him. I don't even bother because I have bigger fish to fry. What's your name? I ask as I pick my way around the debris on the sidewalk. Derek. Yours? Rose. Shock registers on his face but quickly passes. Seems like such a pretty name for a girl with such a big knife, he says with a slight chuckle. Roses have thorns, you know, I reply smugly. He almost stumbles. Klutz. I'd rather figure out how to get home on my own, but I need to work with him since his knowledge of this planet will come in handy. Speaking of his knowledge... By the way, where on Earth are we? Downtown Chicago. I nod, just as I thought. I've been here before. It's not my preferred location at the moment, though, because I know I can get help from an Amarian who currently lives on Earth. Not by her choice, and not in Chicago. Would Chicago be close to Oregon by any chance? Nope, not even close.
That's a different state on the other side of the country. Any chance of us getting to Oregon? Not unless you have a lot of money sitting around somewhere. Could I borrow money from you and return it later after I get home? I need to get to Oregon. I don't have enough money. Why do you want to go to Oregon so badly anyway? I know someone there who might be able to help me get home. Are you absolutely positive there's no way to get me to Oregon? I asked, trying to keep desperation out of my voice. Unless you hitchhike across the country, which is extremely dangerous. No, there's no way for you to get there, he replies. Then I'll hitchhike, whatever that means. I have to get home. Are you serious? He must have decided that I was because he stopped. I can't let you do that. It's too risky. He thinks for a moment. I'll stick with you and help you find a way home or another way to Oregon. I mull over my choices. Fine, but if we don't have a plan soon, I'm hitchhiking to Oregon. Derek smiles slightly. I'm sure we'll think of something. We're still walking by burned-out buildings, although now I can faintly hear the sounds of cars in the distance. The sunset behind us turns the sky a violent shade of red and casts an eerie glow across the charred landscape. A shiver runs up my spine. This is not a good omen. Out of the corner of my eye, I notice someone following us. I haven't seen anyone else except Derek. I wonder what this guy's deal is. He's probably some crazy human, a lunatic. Whatever, he's keeping his distance. I glance at Derek. He doesn't look too bad, I guess. I could be traveling with worse. I sigh as I trip over a piece of metal I didn't see. All I know is that this unexpected trip to Earth has shot off in a fantastic fashion. And by fantastic, I mean it sucks. Alright, chapter 9, it's break time. I'm gonna take a voice break. Oh, those earthlings and their small knives.
All right, chapter 9. This one is from Derek's perspective. Well, my day has certainly been out of the ordinary, but then again, they usually are lately. First, I was on a bus heading to the west side of town to try to sneak into my parents' house to get some more of my stuff, when someone wearing a hoodie abruptly sat down next to me. I could only assume it was a girl by her figure, because she kept her hood pulled up over her face the entire time and didn't let me see who she was. She was silent for a moment until the bus picked up speed again. Derek Cooley, huh? So, I have to come help you out again. This is really too much effort. She sounded sarcastic, definitely female, and vaguely familiar. Where do I recognize her voice from? In about 2 minutes, you're going to see a bright flash out the window. You should go investigate it. It will be to your benefit to discover what lies there and to keep it close. What is she gibbering on about? Who are you? She laughed slightly. All in good time. Meanwhile, I have other business to attend. Just remember, roses have thorns. Before I could ask her another question, the bus stopped and she flitted away. I stood up to try to get a glimpse of where she was going and follow her, but a bright flash on the horizon caught my attention. I figured it would be worth my time to investigate. After all, she had apparently helped me before. I wish I could remember when. And so I did investigate the flash of light. I met a rose who told me the same thing the girl did. Roses have thorns. Which is more than peculiar because, judging by Rose's confused state when I met her a few minutes ago, she and that other girl don't know each other. Not that anything in my life is ordinary anymore. Not since I became the gatekeeper, whatever that means, and was forced to keep track of the key. A car horn blares loudly a few streets away, and Rose flinches. I wonder if she has to keep the key away from others like I do, people who want it in order to wreak havoc. When I first got it, I had to learn, fast, what kind of people I could trust just by looking at them. Like when I saw Rose for the first time, I knew I could trust her. It's in the way people hold themselves and the look in their eyes. Rose's green-blue eyes just seem trustworthy. Maybe a little mischievous, but trustworthy, nonetheless. Besides, there's something intriguing about her. I mean, a gatekeeper who knows what she's doing? That's freaking awesome. Plus, there's this weird but good feeling in my gut I have from being with her right now. Well, and the weird chick on the bus who told me to keep something close. I assume she meant Rose, as I haven't found anything else. I've also learned that having friends is not a good idea because I can't tell them about being a gatekeeper. Not even my own mother, because when I did that, I got kicked out of the house. However, since Rose is a gatekeeper, that shouldn't be a problem. My spirits lift. Someone's following us. Rose nods over her left shoulder. Darn it, I was so preoccupied with my thoughts that I didn't even notice him. I glance over my shoulder nonchalantly. Uh-oh. Short, bulky, very scary looking. Why is he following us? Is it a coincidence? Or does he know about me, us, being gatekeepers? Is he going to try to steal my key? This is bad news and the kind of mistake I can't afford to make. Crap. How long has he been following us? Hold on. No, where'd my bookmark go? More bad news. The street we're on dead ends up ahead. We need a plan, I say quietly, trying to hide my panic, when what I really want to do is grab Rose and run. Right now. Just follow my lead. Rose replies calmly.
I thought you didn't have a plan.
I remind her archly. She replies as if the answer is obvious.
We don't. I'm making this up as we go. Just try and keep up, princess.
Excuse me? I retort, shocked. Did she seriously just call me a princess? What is her deal? She flashes me a grin.
You're excused.
Rose suddenly darts across the street, heading in the direction we just came from. I follow, still not sure about her improvising. We're getting closer to the man who's following us. He's wearing a black hoodie pulled up over his head, hiding his face with dark washed jeans and black running shoes. He's so muscular that he looks as if he's stuffed into his clothes, like he'll bust out of them if he moves wrong. If Rose is planning a direct confrontation, she's going to have trouble. He's a whole lot bigger than her, than both of us together.
Do you have a cell phone?
Rose says under her breath.
Yeah? Why?
It's not like we can call anyone for help. We'd be toast by the time the cops got here.
Take it out and turn on the little device that captures images.
A camera? Who doesn't know what a camera is? But I do what she asks. We're about 10 feet away from the man now, who's still walking towards us, although he's keeping his head bent to hide his face. Rose has yet to do anything.
You!
Rose says loudly to him. He ignores her.
That's your plan?
I whisper-yell at her.
Shut up!
She whisper-yells back. I'm not sure what a whisper-yell is.
Hey, you there, she says again. The person currently ignoring me? Yes, you?
The man finally looks up and we're able to see his face.
Now,
she orders me in a loud whisper. I quickly hold up my phone and take a picture, praying it isn't blurry. So now what? Is Rose actually going to fight this guy? She's going to get flattened, and since she has information I need about the key, I would prefer that not to happen.
Would you like to keep your face the way it is?
Rose asks him in a pleasant, friendly voice. That's what serial killers sound like, I bet. I study her out of the corner of my eye. Maybe she secretly is a serial killer. I'm suddenly not so sure I should be befriending this chick. The man grunts, and my attention shifts back to him. He's staring at Rose with a look of disbelief. You've got to be kidding me, right? At 5 feet away from him, Rose and I stop at the same time. How odd. I don't listen to threats from little girls, he snarls, pulling his hood away from his face and clenching his fists. Rose's face darkens, and her features contort into a snarl. Note to self, calling Rose a little girl makes her mad. I sneak another picture. This one clearly shows the guy's black crew cut, menacing jawline, and beady little eyes. Rose recovers quickly.
I don't listen to threats from people who don't even have 2 brain cells to form a coherent thought.
Mystery Man grinds out. You don't know who you're messing with.
I know exactly who I'm messing with. She crosses her arms and stands up straighter. A big dunderhead who's going to fight with brute strength. He has little to no agility, and he thinks he can scare anyone into doing what he wants. And by the way, you're the one who has absolutely no clue what you're getting yourself into.
Rose has such a nasty expression that I'm slightly scared for the man picking a fight with her. He looks a bit taken aback, too. Cue Rose's triumphant smirk.
Now who knows more than who?
His eyes narrow again, and he takes a half step forward.
I'm fighting a little girl who's all bark and no bite, and she will run away screaming.
He flicks his wrist and a knife appears.
Or have her boyfriend fight for her after the first punch. Oh, good, Rose says in a syrupy voice. You do have enough brain cells to put together a metaphor.
She pulls the long hunting knife out of her boot for the second time today. Its blade gleams wickedly in the day's fading light.
I know metaphor is a big word with more than 2 syllables, but don't worry. I gave you a compliment.
Sorry, that was another big word. A compliment is a nice thing for me to say to you. The man lunges at Rose. She dances sideways and he slashes at thin air. A wicked smile forms on her face. She sidles up next to me and puts her hands behind her back, seemingly relaxed with the knife dangling carelessly from her fingers.
Realizing he missed, the man snarls. Rose's expression brightens. The man adjusts his grip on his knife and tries to stab her. Again, he fails miserably. Rose just slides to the side really fast, and he blows right past her. Man, she's quick. I relax a bit and enjoy Rose's performance and carefully stay out of their way. The jerk's frustration grows as he misses her again and again. Rose shakes her head. Dude, I can see your foot move before your arm. You should lead with your weapon. It gives me less time to react. He gets angrier with every word she says and continues to viciously lunge at her. On his next attempt, Rose grabs his outstretched arm, twists it behind his back, contorting it into a shape I thought impossible for a human arm to bend, and forces him to his knees. He drops his knife with a yelp. Ouch. What just happened? He's twice her size, and she took him down like it was no big deal. I'm dumbfounded. Nighty-night, Rose says before putting him in a chokehold. 2 seconds later, his body slumps onto the dirty pavement. This girl is very skilled and violent. Yawning, she says to me, Sorry, I got bored. I stare after her as she walks, more like swaggers, down the street, her long, blonde ponytail swishing from side to side with each step. You comin'? She calls back. I close my gaping mouth and catch up with her, which isn't hard because she has to take 2 steps for every one of mine. How did you manage to get a giant guy like that to his knees? Fighting isn't always about strength. It's about leverage, she shrugs. If you can put the biggest guy in the world in an arm lock or hit a pressure point, you'll always have the upper hand. That arm lock I put him in hurts really badly, so when I pushed my foot into the back of his knee, he went down easily. She looks me up and down and slows to a halt. Considering you have strength on your side, you've probably never learned that, but for smaller people, however, it's quite important. Leverage and agility are the only tools we have to win a fight. She takes off down the street again. I don't know why she chose to lead. She has no clue where she's going. I smother a chuckle. It'll be fun to watch her mess up, though. Of course, when she reaches the street corner, she doesn't stop and wait for my directions. She keeps going around the block. In the wrong direction. Ah, I knew it. Do you even know where we're heading? I yell from the corner. I'm sure I'll figure it out, she waves me off. I roll my eyes. Time for the real leader to take charge. Besides, it's getting late, and we don't have enough daylight left for Rose to walk us all over Kingdom Come. I jog around the corner and catch up with her, grabbing her arm and turning her around so we're going the right way. Rose comes along so smoothly, almost as though it was her idea, although she pulls away from me again. So, you have some fighting experience? I ask casually. A little bit, she says nonchalantly. That tells me nothing, and certainly not why she's so quick on her feet. Since you're so fast, I know you're not from Earth. What exactly are you? A 12-foot-tall purple giraffe, she replies in a snarky tone. You know what I mean. Are you some special fighter type of person? No, I just know what to look for that indicates a person is about to attack, and, when I'm on Earth, I use that to my advantage. Then what are you off of Earth? My normal self, who is much faster and stronger than you humans are, she states, bragging. I'm never going to get a straight answer out of her. I sigh. Nice to know there's a superior species to humans. Makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Don't worry. Once we come over here, we lose nearly all of our powers. It keeps the playing field level. Like, if you brought guns to Amara, they wouldn't work. And don't ask me why. I don't know. This happens everywhere as far as I know. You can't bring anything to another planet that would enable you to take it over. But you can bring insignificant things. She grows more animated as she talked. The biggest thing I've got through successfully is a CD player. What if I came to Amara? You would have the same powers I do there. Anytime you go to another planet, you will be elevated to the standard of the planet if necessary, so you blend in and don't get killed. So you're not really a superior species, I say, mostly to needle her. No, we are, trust me. Hold on a second. I pause, and so does she. You didn't kill that guy, did you?
I don't want a murder on my hands.
No, I just put him to sleep for a while.
Wonder if all her people are as trained as she is.
So, were you specifically trained to be a fighter? I ask.
Nope. She has to be lying. No one is this good at fighting unless they've been working on it since they were a kid. I mean, she's younger and a lot shorter than me, and she can take down opponents that I would have had some difficulty beating. I give up on the subject. If I learned one thing from that fight, it's that I'm glad Rose is on my side. Chapter 10, Rose. That confrontation with Mr. Follower turned out well, and I can tell I gained some respect in Ben's eyes. Respected people get places in the world, in any world. Speaking of getting places, I used up all my brain power in that confrontation because, sadly, I only have that hitchhiking to Oregon plan to get home, which even Ben thinks is stupid and dangerous.
Do you have any idea what we're gonna do next?
Ben asks, as though he's reading my thoughts.
Nope, I say.
Nope, I say, popping the P at the end and staring at the ground in front of me. I'm really hoping he has an idea. I need to get back to the battle and help my people, even though I'm exhausted. We turn a corner and now the buildings look more normal. Maybe a little run down, but not burnt to a crisp. The shadows are lengthening as the sun finishes setting.
No plan?
That's reassuring, he scoffs, sarcasm oozing from every syllable. In a tone of mock hurt, I reply,
Your words wound me,
and place my hand over my heart for dramatic effect. He shakes his head.
Since you're lacking any great plans, I think we should go to a diner, get a cup of coffee, find somewhere to sleep, and figure all this out in the morning. I have a connection that will let us stay at his place tonight.
By a connection, you mean a friend, right? I ask, really hoping that he says connection for everyone he associates with. Connections equal people you don't completely know or trust, I've always believed, but you go to them anyway and get stuff, or because you owe them. Staying at a connection's house never turns out well. Ben interrupts my thoughts.
No, I mean a connection, not a friend. It's not the greatest situation, but I'm out of money, and he'll loan me some.
Sounds suspicious.
Why would this guy give you money? And why in the world are we not just going to your house?
No one, especially a connection, just gives away money to a homeless guy, which I'm assuming Ben is since he didn't mention going to his own place, and he's carrying a backpack that's stuffed pretty full. He avoids eye contact.
Let's just say my father is a rather imposing figure, he says vaguely, and we're not going to my house because I said so, and I don't want to talk about that anymore.
But I think he should. Care to elaborate?
Nope.
He mocks me by popping the P. It was worth a shot.
So where's this diner we're going to?
A window with bars on it catches my attention as we walk past an old building. At least we're passing people now, even though they're freaky looking. Black clothes, bad posture, those skin stamp things humans decide to cover themselves with. Sketchy part of town, not cool. How do I always manage to end up in these kinds of places? Ben grabs my elbow and pulls me into the street.
The diner's just down a few blocks.
I quickly pull out of his grasp. I'm not really into people invading my space bubble. Besides, something else is bothering me.
So if you know the area we're in, then why in the world did we end up hitting a dead end back there?
The confrontation with that burly jerk really could have been avoided.
I was preoccupied,
is Ben's extremely simple, really annoying, and totally unhelpful reply.
So how much do you know about the portals?
I ask to keep him talking.
Pretty much nothing, actually. So if we're going to come up with a plan, I'll need to combine your knowledge of the portals with what I know about Earth.
I sigh, then reluctantly agree. When we get to the diner, I will teach you all you need to know about the portals. A flashing sign down the street proclaims we're approaching a diner. Probably the one Ben's heading towards. One question, though. Before we get there, did you ever use your key before it broke last month? He blushes.
I didn't, because I'm not entirely sure how, and I'm afraid that if I leave this planet, I'll be stuck somewhere else, where the inhabitants might think I'd make a nice entree.
Well, at least he's honest. Most planets don't have inhabitants that will eat you. Well, actually, that's a lie. Most do, I say, thinking about it. Except for a handful of special safe planets, but they're generally fairly boring. Like Earth, he says smartly. No, Earth has things that will eat you. Sharks, for example. I shudder. I'm not a fan of them. Just as we reach the diner, he takes my hand in his, and I about jump out of my skin. I throw him a pointed look, my face on fire and my hand tingling. I'm not exactly up to date on the whole relationship thing because I never really cared for having one, but I'm pretty sure only couples hold hands. Besides, he's walking too close to me, and this is not okay. Because you've never decided to have... You're 13, girl, you're 13. I start to tug away, but change my mind. It's an Earth thing I don't know about, but should. What are you doing? I say under my breath. He opens the door with his other hand and holds it for me.
If we pretend to be a couple, they'll give us the booth in the back where we can talk privately and not have people bugging us.
So? I'm confused.
He says quickly, I'll explain when we're seated. Just try and look like you're happy.
Easier said than done. He pulls me inside. I do not like Ben's plan at all. Humans are weird.
Table for two, please,
he tells the server at the front. And just as he said would happen, she smiles when she sees our clasped hands and leads us to a back corner booth where no one is sitting. Perhaps you two would like some privacy, she asks, making it seem more like a statement than anything else. Ben looks at me warmly, and I try to smile back. I'm a good liar, but I don't know anything about being an actress, especially when I have to pretend to be happy with the invasion of my personal space. Ben nods at her.
That would be lovely,
he says warmly. She leaves, and we sit down across from each other. I quickly let go of his hand, as if it burns me.
Explanation?
I ask, trying to calm my erratically beating heart and get my face to cool down. I am probably an awkward shade of red by now.
You're blushing.
I glare, flushing harder and silently swearing revenge. Apparently public displays of affection are more than just an Amarian thing. I don't exactly do PDA, especially with boys I just met, I state, attempting to regain my dignity. Well, whatever's left of it.
That wasn't exactly PDA in American terms.
Ben's eyes dance and his lips turn up mischievously. If that doesn't count, what does? Then what classifies?
I can show you.
He leans across the table toward me. I'm puzzled for a moment, but then I blush yet again when I realize what he means as his face gets closer to mine. Revenge, stone-cold revenge, will certainly be in store. I'll pass, thanks. I shove my palm in his face. The idiot laughs and sits back in his seat. So why couldn't we just ask for a back booth? He grins.
Because this was so much more fun.
Bro, she's 13. Stop it. Oh, joy. This guy has a messed up idea of fun. Cliff jumping is fun. Holding hands is not. Playing pranks is fun. Holding hands is not. Maybe for you, but for the rest of us, that was anything but fun.
Liar.
A subject change would be great right about now. So you really don't know anything at all about the keys, or what they do, or about the portals? I ask, switching gears to a more important and comfortable topic.
Subject changer,
he accuses before answering my question.
Well, I know the key takes you to other planets that actually contain and sustain life. I also know that other people want that key from me, like that creepy stalker guy from earlier today, I think. I don't know why else he would be following us, but that's about it. That's all I know.
That reminds me.
You did get a picture of that guy, right?
Bad guys hate having their picture taken. I learned that in a movie I saw here on Earth one time. He had to be following us for a reason. There's no way he was randomly there in that deserted part of town. And Ben had said that some humans wanted the key for bad reasons. I'm beginning to wonder if Mr. Follower knows something about the portals malfunctioning. If I can figure out who he is and follow him, maybe I can find out something about what happened. It's a long shot, but it's the only one I have. Well, that and hitchhiking to Oregon.
Yeah, it's on my phone.
Remind me to show you... Oh, wait,
Yeah, it's on my phone. Remind me to show you later. But please, help me out here with this whole key business.
He fiddles with the cup on the table. I have a lot to teach you, I sigh. Footsteps approach, and Ben grabs my hand from across the table. My stupid blush comes back, and I try to smile like a normal, happy person would. Too bad I'm not normal, and I'm most certainly not happy. Our waitress smiles, pen and pad in hand. Hi, my name's Jessica, and I'll be your server today. What would you like to drink? She said in an all too happy voice.
I'll have a coffee.
Ben smoothly flashes her a smile. For a guy who is supposedly in a relationship with me, he sure is grinning warmly. Not that I care what he does, I just met him. She turns to me. And you, sweetheart? Who in the world says sweetheart anymore?
I'll have the same thing,
I reply, and then gaze at Ben again. My smile may be saying I'm happy, but I bet my eyes are shooting daggers at him for coming up with such a stupid plan where we could have just asked for a back booth. I'll be right back with that, Jessica says and walks off with a spring in her step. What does coffee taste like? I ask him. I realize we're still holding hands, and I jerk mine away. He laughs at me. You'll see. I hope I didn't just order poison. Chapter 11, Sylvia will be back on Amara. Give me a mo. Blech. La, la, la. Chapter 11, Sylvia. Why can't anyone figure out what happened? I suppress a scream that would be inappropriate for a princess and settle for slamming my armoire door shut instead. The poor maid looks scared, so I remind myself that I shouldn't shoot the messenger. It's only been a few hours since Rose disappeared this morning during the battle with Lexi. I shouldn't be surprised that no one knows what happened yet. No one knows where Lexi disappeared to either. All we've heard is that the two of them were fighting. Then everyone saw a blinding flash of Then everyone saw a blinding flash of light that gave off intense heat, and then they both left or vanished. No one really knows which. There's no evidence as to where or how they left. No footprints, no blood, nothing. All the army can find is an indentation in the scorched ground a few yards in diameter where Rose and Lexi were fighting. They are simply gone. But that's impossible unless Rose used the key, and she wouldn't have, not during a battle. It's interesting that after they disappeared, the enemy retreated, although, for that matter, we did too. Everyone was too terrified. Something makes me wonder if Lexi planned it, if she somehow caused that explosion and Rose's disappearance. Lexi could be out there, hiding, plotting her next move. After such a shock, our village is vulnerable, and it would be very easy to attack us. But the worst part is that Rose hasn't returned, nor have we heard anything from her. Without a key, spontaneous and totally random interplanetary travel has never happened that I know of, so she's got to be here on Amara. But if she were, she should be back by now. Amara isn't a very big planet, and it would only take a couple of hours for her to send a messenger pigeon our way. She would have done so by now if she was able to. So, considering she isn't back, and we don't have a message from her, she's either seriously injured or worse. But that's not a possibility I'm willing to accept. My thoughts race and collide with each other. I'm sick of the turmoil. I can't just sit here in the castle doing nothing. Phoenix and I have to do something to find her. Earlier, I sent a maid to ask a messenger to get Phoenix from her house, or, more likely, from Rose's. The two of us will brainstorm and discover exactly what in the world has happened. If we put our minds together, we can figure something out. Another half hour passes. I stay in my room waiting for Phoenix, staring blankly at my wall. Crap! What the heck am I doing? I'm wasting valuable time. I should gather all the information we have and put it together. The pieces of the puzzle are bound to fit if I can just find them all. I need information, and the best place to get information is the castle library. We certainly have enough books, and there's bound to be something pertaining to Rose's unusual departure. I set out with determination for the library. When I pass a maid in the hallway, I'm reminded that Phoenix will need to know where to find me. When Phoenix arrives shortly, I ask the maid, can you please tell her to meet me in the library? I'll be searching for any information that might help us solve Rose's disappearance. Of course, Princess, she curtsies and rushes down the hall. When I reach the library's grand mahogany doors and quietly enter, there's not a soul in sight. Good. No one to interrupt me. I run my gaze around the large room and settle on the bookshelf on the far wall. I may as well start there. At least some of those books should contain information about missing warriors. After a couple of trips between the bookshelf and a large reading table, I realized there are a lot of tomes in the rather sizable pile I've gathered. Phoenix and I are only 2 people, so how are we going to accomplish this research? Something my mother says all the time echoes in my head. In order to finish, you have to start. I sigh and sit down at the table, opening the book on the top of the stack. I am in for a very long day. But soon Phoenix arrives and silently sits down to my left, picking up a book. She nods at me. The maid must have passed along my message. Some time later, my father sits in the chair to my right. What? Without a word, he grabs a book out of my stack and opens it. I'm speechless. What is he doing here? I stare at him, probably looking at him as if he's grown another head. My father is a very impersonal man, and he won't usually take time out of his busy day. He's making sure the kingdom is prospering, he says, to help me with something. I was mostly raised by my mother, but don't get me wrong, I love my father, and I understand why he does what he does. He notices my stare and calmly looks at me as though nothing is out of the ordinary. I lost one of my best warriors today, he says in a quiet undertone. Oh, I look back at the book in my hands. Of course he isn't here because I lost my friend. He's here because it will affect his military, having someone like Rose gone. My father likes to keep his gold squad functioning like the well-oiled machine it is. I return my attention to the thick book in front of me. A few minutes later, one of the maids comes in. My father moves out of earshot to talk to her in hushed tones. What are they discussing? It's probably not anything about Rose, otherwise he would come tell me right away. I shrug and get back to reading. My stack of red books is growing at a frustratingly slow pace. Over the next few hours, people trickle into the library, go to the shelves, and pull out their own books to read. I don't pay them much attention. People come in all the time to read from our vast library. But the flow of people doesn't stop. It only increases. And no one leaves. Some people are jotting down notes as they pour through the books. I will mention they put the wrong pour. It's P-O-U-R instead of P-O-R-E. Pour through the books. Not that that's out of the ordinary for children and young teenagers to do, but for older teenagers and adults who are no longer in school? It's strange. The next time I look up and glance around, it seems like a quarter of the population of Alethea is in the library. Then it hits me. They're here to help. I didn't tell very many people about my research idea. How did they know? I say under my breath to my father. I commanded one of the maids to send a message throughout town. Your idea is a marvelous one. He nodded in approval. Fit for a future queen, my dear. And I was obligated to ensure that the town knew of your plan. I've already deployed gold and silver squad to do a physical search for Rose. Hearing that makes me proud I have pleased him. He isn't the kind of person to give out unnecessary compliments. Besides, it's good that they're out there searching for Rose, although I have the strangest feeling they won't find her. I smile proudly at the industrious and caring Amarians, although it's a bit weird because I've never seen so many people so quiet. If Rose were here, she'd run through the room pretending to be a dragon or something childish to disrupt the general peace and to cause mayhem. I swear Rose feeds off chaos. Mostly, though, she just doesn't like it when it's quiet. The silence emphasizes her absence. The emptiness rings in my ears and makes my stomach sink. I finish the brown leather book I'd started and move on to a smaller one bound in deep red leather. Unfortunately, my inner voice distracts me from the text. What will happen if Rose never comes back? Who will be the person who makes the quiet moments interesting? What will we do without her? If I were in Rose's place and missing, what would other people ask themselves? Would they wonder who will rule the kingdom next? Would they say I was never fit to run the kingdom anyway? I glance over at Phoenix, who frowns as she reads a dusty old book. What would happen if she disappeared? Who would create beautiful artwork and decorate the history books and our buildings? Who would replace Phoenix's logical contributions to Rose's barely thought-out plans? My eyelids get heavy, and I shake my head to dispel the fatigue. I can't allow myself to be tired now, but the lack of sound lulls me to sleep. My eyelids droop again. Okay, maybe just a quick rest for a few seconds, then I'll go back to reading. I slowly rest my head in my arms. Guilt floods me as soon as I close my eyes. I need to keep reading so I can find Rose and bring her back home. But I'm so worn out, and I can't even lift my head. Stay awake and continue reading! My internal battle lasts only a couple of seconds. I feel sleep creeping up on me. Before I succumb, I have only one thought. Where are you, Rose? 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 Man, I really need to do these out loud readings with like vocal effects available to me. It would do a lot to texture it. All right, how long is this Benjamin chapter? All right, we'll do one more. We'll do chapter 12, back to our boy Benjamin. And then I'm probably going to get out of here. The waitress sets our coffee down in front of us, and I wait for Rose to take a sip. She's either going to love it or... Ugh, this stuff is vile, Rose exclaims, her cute little nose wrinkling in disgust. Bro, she's 13. Stop it. How old are you? She viciously stirs her coffee with a spoon as if it would improve the taste. I'm sorry. I think it tastes brilliant, I reply and take a giant swig of my own. Rose makes gagging noises to emphasize her point. I ignore her. We need to get back on track to getting her home. So tell me all you can about your key and how it works. She looks at her coffee disdainfully and stirs it faster, creating a whirlpool. Smiling at it, she counters, Fine, I'll tell you, as long as you get me something less poison-esque. Her eyes sparkle when she looks up at me. I nod. Deal. That was relatively easy. Now, bore me to tears with all the information you have. I clasp my hands together on the tabletop and get comfortable for a long lecture. Rose returns to stirring her coffee like a normal person would. First, I should probably cover the basics so I don't confuse you with the more complicated stuff. I notice her jab but choose not to comment. She takes a deep breath and begins. To use the key, you hold it in your hand and think of the place you want to go, which means you need to know what the other planets look like. We have a book of drawings back home that I use to go to places I've never been before. I assume you don't have a similar book because you don't appear to have a book on you at the moment, and you would have to, since you're homeless, she says, her blue eyes glancing at my leather jacket and its standard-sized pockets. Unless it's in your backpack? I narrow my gaze. How'd you know I was homeless? That's the second time she's said that, and it's not information I give out. Earlier, you didn't suggest we go to your house for the night. Instead, we're going to a connections place. Not to mention, you seem to lack something called a job. People with houses have jobs, and people with houses lack jobs. Fucking false. I slump in my seat and stare off in the distance. I'm not homeless by choice. Rose's words break through my misery. Getting back to using the key, Benjamin. You have to picture the world you want to go to, and a portal will open up. I assume you know what a portal looks like? No, I haven't got a clue. Oh, good grief, Rose sighs loudly. I marvel at her impatience. She's worse than a 5-year-old waiting to go to Disneyland. Well, basically, a portal is a bright ball of spinning light that kind of looks like it's on fire. Its color depends on where you're going. Amara's portal color is blue with random swirls of green. The portal to get to Earth is blue with random swirls of brown. So, to get to another world, you have to jump through said colorful ball of light. She wants me to jump through a ball of fire? Is she freaking serious? She must see the expression on my face because she holds up her hand. But don't worry, you won't get burned or anything. Portals are mostly harmless. Very weird at first. It's as if you're in the middle of a lightning storm. Electricity everywhere. But you get used to it. I nod. Okay, I guess I can handle it so far. Besides, if she can do it, I can too. Then you land where the portal takes you on that planet. It could be anywhere, but it shows up in the same place almost every time. If you go there once, you should know where you're going to end up each time after that. Amara, my home planet, for example, has a tree on the other side of Earth's portal, so I always crash into it when I'm coming back from Earth. I laugh at the image of Rose hitting a tree. Not funny, she glowers. It hurts. It's not my fault. The portal throws you with the same amount of momentum you have going in, and I tend to take a running leap through. I smother a grin and try to look sympathetic. Her expression turns serious. Occasionally, though, the portal's location is somewhere you don't want to be on a planet. You could be dropped off in the middle of an ocean, or a desert, or, quite possibly, somewhere worse, but that's rare. That only happened to me once. I landed in the middle of the river, and I got soaked from head to toe. It sucked. Anyway, there are a billion different worlds. I mean, the book I look through is huge.
How big exactly?
I ask. Why didn't I receive a book when I got the key? Bigger than the biggest picture book you've ever seen, she replies, her eyes sparkling with mischief.
So, naturally, as a teenager, you read picture books?
I match. Who told you I'm still a teenager? She quirks an eyebrow. Aha, now I'll find out if she's older or younger than me.
Well, you look about 14 or 15. How old are you actually?
I'm 14. So she's a year younger than me. Ew. Now, back to the portals. Anyone can go through them, so you have to be really careful about where you use your key to open them and how quickly you shut them behind you. Trust me, it's not fun discovering a wide-eyed, frightened stowaway and having to return that person or creature to wherever it came from. Why anyone would decide to jump into a mysterious ball of light, I don't know, but it happens, she shrugs. Crazy people. I wouldn't choose to jump through a mysterious ball of fire unless I knew a heck of a lot more about it first. Another difficulty, she continued, is that if you incorrectly imagine the world you're going to, you mix up two of them or get some big detail wrong, you get sent to the wrong world. Despite the fact that Rose is not drinking her coffee, she dumps a sugar packet into it. I'm not really sure how that works, to be honest, because I've never done it myself. But as a safety precaution, don't go anywhere you're not sure about. I've heard stories about past gatekeepers who've gotten stuck in this in-between place, almost like a void, but those are just myths as far as I know. Either way, it sounds like a not-so-fun thing. Well, no duh. Clearly everyone wants to slowly rot away in limbo. She holds up a cautionary finger. One more thing. The key can be used by anyone, but I don't generally lend mine out. Most people don't want it anyway, and everyone, except me, needs a traveling permit to leave Amara, so the key is just not that big of a deal to people. I'm shocked.
Really? People here who know a key exists, and not a lot of people do, try to steal it from me. Does everyone where you live know about it?
Yes, everyone knows about it, but Amarians don't generally cause too much trouble. Not a lot of my people use sarcasm either, like I do, or go around stirring things up and creating mayhem. Basically, they can be very boring at parties. Wow, Amara sounds like it sucks. Sounds like you live on a planet full of fucking lobotomized dullards. She's got it easy.
Well, that would be a welcome change to what I'm dealing with. I wish I didn't have to change where I sleep every night just so people can't find me and steal the key.
Surprise flashes across Rose's face, but it's gone as soon as it comes. Well, that's basically everything about portals. If I think of any other important details, I'll tell you. Our discussion reminds me to be more vigilant. I glance around for anything that's out of whack or suspicious. The coffee's nice, but I don't like staying in the same place for any stretch of time. Everything appears normal, but we should leave anyway.
Come on, I'll pay, and we'll go.
I stand up and reach for my wallet. Wait, you never got me my less vile drink, Rose protests. I put money down on the table, but when I grab her arm to pull her to her feet so we can leave, she grabs onto the table. I'm not leaving yet! The hair on the back of my neck tingles, and a sense of urgency suddenly overwhelms me. I try to pull her up, but she's stronger than I thought, and I don't want to hurt her. Of course Rose wouldn't make this easy. How could I have thought otherwise?
Are you really going to act like a 2-year-old?
I ask impatiently, risking another look around the diner. If that's what it takes to get me a better tasting beverage, then yes. Something like that fizzy drink I had when I was here one time. The man who sold it to me called it Zoda or something like that. Zoda? Oh, soda.
Come on. That guy who followed us might come in here looking for coffee after he wakes up. We aren't that far from where he passed out.
What about my fizzy drink? Rose demands. She's impossible.
You mean a soda, right? Because Zoda isn't a word.
Soda, that's what it's called. I remember now.
I'll buy you a soda at the counter as we're leaving. I offer her my hand. She looks at it warily. We have to keep up appearances until we're out of here, I remind her. We're a couple, remember? Rose takes my hand reluctantly. Her hand feels so small in mine. She mutters under her breath. Fine, as long as I get my soda, I couldn't care less. At the counter, we wait for the cashier to come out of the kitchen. I lean over to whisper in Rose's ear. Liar. I receive a look that would probably liquefy my kidneys if given the chance. I give her a cheesy smile in response. The cashier appears. So, should I ring you up now? She asks me. We left some money for the bill on the table, but I'd like some soda to take with me. Rose finishes my sentence sweetly. Gone is the ferocious look that said she wanted to punch me. What a good little actress to switch from hate to love in a millisecond. What kind of soda? The cashier taps the keys on the register. Yoop, doop, 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 doop. Expecting Rose not to have an answer, I reply for her. Sprite, please. The cashier nods and pushes a few more buttons. $1.50. Cash or credit? Cash. I pull my hand free of Rose's and fish $2 out of my pocket and hand them over to the cashier. I casually put my arm around Rose's shoulder. She stiffens slightly and shoots me a warning look out of the corner of her eye. This is really too much fun. The cashier hands me back 2 quarters and a chilled Sprite from a little refrigerator under the counter. Thanks. Have a nice day and please come again. Her smile's too big. Waitresses are always too happy. We will. You too, I reply. Rose smiles at her, and then we both turn to leave, my arm still around her shoulder. I wanted a Mountain Dew, Rose. God, fucking God, this bitch, it's so annoying. Rose complains as we walk out the door and onto the sidewalk. You don't need that much sugar, I tell her. I'm surprised she knows the brand names of soda, but not what soda is called. Fine, I'll take Sprite, she says tersely. I hand her the can. She fumbles for a moment as she opens the can, then guzzles about half the drink. She's fucking feral. The sugar must be helping because she looks up at me a lot more calmly. Where to now? We're going to see that connection of mine, remember? I say, pulling Rose closer to me and using my arm to guide her down the darkening street. She gives my arm a very pointed look. As soon as we're out of the sight of the diner, she yanks my arm off her shoulder rather aggressively. Ouch! Jeez. Violent much? I question her, rolling my shoulder around. I think something cracked. No more plans like that, to have us be a couple. I've got a personal space bubble I like to keep, she tells me sternly. I get her point, but that doesn't mean I'm going to listen to it in the future. Fucking problematic. Rose's reaction is too entertaining for me to pass up any opportunities, despite my aching shoulder. Oh, and I want my key back, she adds. One of your wishes, at least, is my command, princess. You can be in charge of the plans from now on, but I keep the keys. She'll think she's in charge, at least, so that should solve some problems. She flips her ponytail over her shoulder and looks away. Whatever. I'm too busy laughing inside to care. Taunting this girl is really too much fun. Fucking gross! You're both fucking gross! Alright, well, that's it for Storytime Sunday. We will pick this up next Sunday. What will happen? Will Ben and Rose find their way to Oregon? Will they learn the secrets of the key? Will Phoenix and Sylvia wake up in the library? That scene was actually kind of funny, that it's like she had this idea to like read to learn something that might help, and it's not even like we know the answer's here somewhere, all we have to do is find it. It's more, I'm fairly sure that going to the library and reading might glean us some information. And then they did the like, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. Like, first the king fucking shows up, and then slowly Amarans start trickling in, where it's like, we're all here to do our part and read through the books and take notes and find information. It's like, information about what? What are we looking for? Is there some key thing? Like, I feel like you'd need some really strong rhetoric, basically a certainty to be like, we know the answer's here somewhere. We just don't know where. And we've already got 2 people plugging through books, but if they do it alone, it'll take years. But if we can get every Amaran, it could take as little as, a week. And whoever does find it is kind of going to be considered like, I won the raffle. I'm kind of the hero. It took all of us. And also it's just like wildly undersold. That should be like a fucking near climactic moment for Sylvia and Phoenix's like arc right now. Is like this big emotional like, my God, all the people of Alethea, the baker, the butcher, his son Colin that I want to kiss, they're all here. And they're, you know what I mean? But it was just like, oh yeah, it was kind of happening. But then I fell asleep. Anyway, moving right along. Let's go back to the 14-year-old being hit on by the 15-year-old. Fucking yikes. All right. Been fun. God, are there really that many more days for Ludum Dare? I don't know what we're doing tomorrow. It might be Ludum Dare. Otherwise, we got to start looking at what we're curating for next Saturday for when Ryan's here, whatever jam. We could probably take a look at Dungeon Crawler Jam. We could scrub through Dungeon Crawler Jam. We've got a couple of work orders. Having gone through the stuff from Radial Menu Jam and kind of curating that into a packet of stuff that I can show one after another as like, hey, this one's pretty good. To Ryan, I think is a really good format. I think he likes it. I think it works well for our pacing rather than kind of like aimlessly exploring things. I can do the legwork ahead of time and then concentrate it down into like an even more tuned stream experience when the both of us are here and our power is at 100%, So more than likely that's what we're going to end up doing. Either way, if you want to keep finding out what happens in Amara's Rose, then come on back 6 p.m. Pacific next Sunday for another Sunday story time. Good night.
That's the end of the show. All of us have got to go back on home. I hope you had a lot of fun. We'll catch you at the next one, or whenever we do.